This is the Balanced Advisor Podcast with Dr. Travis Perry, helping financial advisors like you achieve balance in their lives.
Welcome to another episode of the Balanced Advisor Podcast. I am your host, as always, Dr. Travis Perry. Today, we have with us Chad Olivier. And Chad has been in business since 1996. He started Olivier Group in 2002 and wrote 2 books for physicians and dentists on financial planning. And his team of 9 manages $360 million in assets. He's also the host of Money Talks on local Fox Thursday 9 p.m. news and Friday NBC morning show. More importantly, though, he's married to Rose the last 23 years. They have 4 boys, ages 17 to 9. And his number 2, Cole, has special needs. He's on the autism spectrum, high functioning, but very, as you mentioned in the pre-show, very active in the sports, but they're also very active in the special needs community. So welcome, Chad, to the show.
Great to be here, Travis.
Yes, thank you for making the time to be with us. We talked a little bit in the pre-show about a lot of things. I'm excited to get more into detail here, but tell us before we get into the stuff about balance and scaling, how did you get into this industry? What was your direction? How did you end up here?
When I was 11 years old, my grandfather passed away, and we came from a blue collar family. He was in a middle executive role, and he took care of my grandmother, and I was just very amazed about how well she was off. And now it's been 39 years later, and she's still very well off. But I started to get really interested when she kind of explained a little bit of stuff that he had set up for her after his passing. And so from there, I started reading Forbes magazine, went to college and decided to do finance with an economics major, interned at a bank, and they had a financial advisor in the bank. And I told her that, hey, look, I'll work for you for free just to see if I want to be in this industry. And from there, I just really love the whole aspect of helping people in with their investments and their planning, and went into the business right after college.
Oh, that's great. I know a lot of really great advisors come from the banking world, and there's a lot of great training there. In the banking world, you've got the 9 to 5 bank hours, holidays. It seems like balance isn't as, I think, at least from my research, as an issue because a lot of it is built in. But you've grown this business since 96. You are sought after to teach in the industry, and you've been on other podcasts. You've written books for a couple of industries here. What is your secret to keeping your balance as a business owner?
Sure, it's those. And listen, those early days, when I first started, I started a small investment firm. It was obviously working and trying to get clients. As a 22, 23-year-old, it's extremely tough, especially you don't have any gray hair yet. And I looked extremely young too. So, but as I started to build the business and decided to write the book and go different avenues where I got into different publications. And once I think I told you this before, once I got into some type of a publication, or if I'm on the TV, I make sure that I'm the only one that's going to be in that area. And so I kind of just, put my arms around it and say, okay, I'm going to be the TV guy, and no other advisor is going to do it. And just years and years of doing that. And then as we started to have children, being involved with coaching, I coach every sport that the boys do, and the coaching, and then just being involved with the schools. We're always the major sponsors. Just being in a community just ends up you're around business, and you get business from that, and it just really starts to grow. And then this is a family business. So the boys come and intern here. My wife works a couple of days a week. She's an attorney. Rose is an attorney, and she writes a lot of my stuff. And so it's just, every part of the business is actual family too. So I always say it's a family business.
That's so great. What I'm hearing from you, which is what I've also found a lot in the research, is that when you involve yourself and you care about something that's not just work, your family, you're involved with them, it forces you, right, to create those boundaries. Oh, I've got to leave. I got to go to soccer practice, or I've got to go help baseball or tennis, whatever it is that you're doing, you're coaching. You can be involved with your kids' lives. For us, a lot of times it's date night, so we're going to go, or we're doing family things over the weekend. We plan those things so that we can look forward to them and we enjoy it. Then you come back to work and you seem to be more energized, more excited about work. Like there is a correlation here. And it sounds like that's what you're experiencing too. But as you're growing this business, because you're growing, like that hasn't stopped your growth. You're growing amazing rates that a lot of in the industry would love to know, like how you're doing this. You wrote several books. You got spots here on a couple of news stations to talk about money and finance. Has that really moved the needle for you? Has bringing in that business, becoming the rainmaker, been the needle mover? If so, how has that really increased things?
It really has. And so I'll give an example. When I had a client that was a dentist who knew the one of the head publishing people of the dental journal, and I was talking with him, and then he just kind of mentioned that he knew him, and I said, well, can I have a conversation with him? So this was 15 years ago. Had a conversation with him, said, hey, can I do a financial planning article in the publication? And he said, oh, let's see what it looks like. So I did a financial planning article. And then from there, I also said, well, is there a way that I can advertise? Because that the publications want to have some type of revenue. So I started with that and did the article advertising. And then from there, I've started to get more dentists as clients. And then the dental school, the LSU dental school, contacted me about doing talks at the dental school. They found this. So from there, I said, well, it's time. I need to write a book for dentists for financial planning. So wrote the book, and then the dental school started buying the book for the seniors in the dental school. And then it just kind of snowballs over the years. And then from at that point, I started to get some local newspapers would the business report, different local newspapers would start to call me for expert opinions on when the market goes crazy or something happening financial planning wise. And then all of a sudden you start to get the news stations, and they'll, even when there's a story, they'll approach you. And then I had the news director come and approach me about, hey, let's do a financial planning segment during the news. And I said, well, that's a fantastic idea. And right next to him was the salesperson to advertise for it. And so started to do the advertising with the news station. And so it just all kind of builds on each other. And it ends up snowballing, and you become an expert in the field, and then it just keeps going and going and going and snowballing. And that's generally, we've gotten great business from that, being a part of everything.
So many advisors reach out to me and ask me like about the book, how I wrote it, and how, it's really been successful. You're even a better example to look towards, as far as you use the book to become the expert, right? You got on the TV shows, you became an expert with the news stations, and now they're asking you, you're their source, you're their go-to. Advisors, no matter where you live, you can do this. I literally help advisors every day with their scaling as they're trying to stay balanced, managing their time and their goals and their resources, so that they can be balanced, but they can also be incredibly successful. As you've seen growth like most advisors just dream about. That brings a different. So number one, that's a great success, and you've built what I call, the offense. And on the defensive side, you've also been able to really build a great team. So let's talk about that. You're really an expert of growing businesses and growing people. You value that. Why is that such a integral part of scaling your business?
I think it's important that you're able to delegate. If you're not able to delegate, then you truly do not have a business. You just have a job. And that's what happens with many small business owners. They leave an organization because they want to be their own boss, but then all of a sudden they have just a lot of work and they're doing more and more work because they didn't actually build a team with them. And so what we've done is I try to look for extremely smart young people and that have a very growth, I would say a growth mindset, that they want to grow, they want to learn, and that are good people. That's generally what we're looking for: good, very good-hearted people that can grow with our firm. And so we'll go in our current team. On our current team, we have certified financial planner that got a financial planning degree from the University of Georgia. We have 2 LSU MBA graduates here in the office, with both of them studying for this certified financial planning designation. We have 2 other ones that are graduated from 3 other ones that graduated from LSU. That one's a CFP, the other one is studying for this certified financial planning designation. I mean, just very, very smart, good-hearted people, and that can come in and just fill in with our team approach. And as CEO, my job is to constantly teach them and to move the direction of our company in where we want it to go. And everyone needs to understand where we're going and be motivated to constantly do that on a daily basis.
Yeah. So, I mean, not only are you chief rainmaker, but you really are, chief team leader, like as CEO. A lot of advisors really struggle with this if they're coming in solo or if they're trying to scale and they're not sure what's going on. Delegation is the thing that comes up. If they don't have anyone to delegate to, there's a bottleneck right there. Or if they're delegating and not training and are not giving the time to allow the team to really learn these skills, or they're getting poached. Like I just did a webinar the other day with a firm that only specializes, they're humans being resources. They only specialize in hiring and helping and recruiting for financial advisors. They're finding a lot of issues right now are good people are getting poached to other firms because they pay if you're not keeping up with the pay issue. So there's a lot of issues here. What would you say one of the biggest issues are with scaling and keeping your balance with the team as you're growing this team? What are some of those issues there?
I think our biggest issue is that because we went with the smart young people, that many times I need to coach them on for them to actually to step into the roles and to have enough confidence in order to make decisions themselves and not just look to me for the decision-making part of it. I've had a number of times I've had to, and we do our weekly meetings. We do a weekly meeting where we have 19 cultures of the Olivier Group, and someone takes the culture and we talk about it. And from there, we do the whole meeting. And at the end, I do my cascading message to get everybody pumped up for the week. But this last one, I had to have you looked at each one of them and explained to them the importance of decision making, and that I've actually they're in their spot because of what's in their brain, not just because they're just in their spot. They need to be able to think and come up with the decision making part of the business, and that's where there's a lot of training. And a lot of times they just don't have the confidence yet. They need to get a little bit more confidence, but they're very good with the technology. They're very smart, but they just need the confidence part of it. It needs to come along the way. And again, I have a young staff. They, I think I told you, like the majority of them, there's a not even a 3 in front of their age, so they're in their 20s, and very, very smart. But that part of it, it's constantly needs to be coached, and there's a learning curve with that, and that's where we are as far as in my business. The learning curve, I believe we do have.
Love it. So you're very efficient with your productivity. We talked about this earlier. but your middle management team, not as good as you mentioned. What do you think one of the biggest struggles that you have with that middle management team as you're training them to be more efficient with their time, so they can, the whole team can stay, balanced?
That's a tough one, Travis. It really is. If I think about it, the younger advisors that we have on the team, they don't have the confidence yet to go out and get the business. We end up with a lot of leads. We have great sources that are coming to us. It's the matter of getting them into the door and transitioning them to be a client. They don't have the confidence or the gray hair yet in order to do it. And my system's a little different than most other advisory firms. I pay a salary. They'll always have a salary, and then as we bring clients on, they will only be an advisor to those clients. We have the staff that's doing the planning, the paperwork. The advisory part of it is where they'll be as the lead advisor, and they need to make sure that they are. I guess they need to make sure that they have the confidence in order to be that lead advisor, and many of them don't have that yet, and it's because of the training side. They're just not there yet, and it's a longer road. I have again younger people in my organization that are they're going to do very well, but there's a learning curve because they need to do it the way that I want to do it. That I want it to be done also.
Yeah, and part of that is the delegation piece, right? And the training, how those go together. If you have a great way of delegating and you can train, like those two really go hand in hand, because then you can feel confident. You feel confident, you hand something off, right? But when they don't have that piece, and which is like, I love your approach, like hire young, hire smart. That's what I'm getting from you. Is like hire young, hire smart, and train them. Because you're big on training. You're big on coaching. No wonder you love, coaching your kids' teams and being involved in the community, because you're a coach at heart. Like really, you're a motivator, a coach, and you bring that to your business, which is a very much a strength. And that training aspect, helping them have the time to do that. A lot of times for a lot of businesses, it's hard to get that time. It's hard to have that individual. I know you invest in your team and you send them to other trainings, you do other things outside. So that does go hand in hand. What do you see, though, in the industry as maybe some other issues that advisors get stuck in when they're trying to scale their business and keep their balance, and it's just not working for them?
What's amazing is that many of the older big brokerage firms, the way that they bring new people on is the same way they brought the new people on when I started in the business. Here's a list, go at it, go get new clients. You have this much time to get this much new clients, or then you were just going to fire you. And I'm amazed. I just had lunch with a younger advisor that's at one of these firms, and he explained how their system works. It's the same way it worked back in '96 when I started in the business. And we approached that totally different. If we're going to hire somebody, we want them to stay. We want to train them very well, and we want them to be successful. We want them to be successful. I have no interest in hiring somebody to then fire them when they don't hit a goal so many months later, or having them just starve to death because everything's on fees and commissions. And to me, that doesn't make a lot of sense. And I'm amazed that the industry is still that way, where they'll just bring people in and discard them, and that's it. And then bring the next person in and go through the same thing over and over. And how miserable is that for that person that could have been a great advisor, that we need young people in this business, and they just got burnt out that quick, and they'll never look back at and be in this business again because they weren't really given a chance.
You nailed a huge issue that I believe contributes to the workaholic trap that I wrote about in Achieving Balance, because I lived it. And basically, I remember it was 2002, and I started working for Northwestern, one of the big life insurance companies. I thought I could be a financial planner here, but really it was a sales job. And they one of the management he'd made it, but he kind of said, "Hey, listen, they're throwing spaghetti noodles against the wall and they're trying to see which ones stick. And the ones that stick, they keep. And if you don't stick, you end up someplace else." And I thought, gee, that's horrible. Like I ended up sticking, but made the decision to leave because the culture of building your own business in your own name, it was more, no, let's build Northwestern, let's build up the big business, and you're going to be working our hours and our approach. And like, no, I want balance. So I end up leaving. So I think not only the ones that don't make it, but the ones that do make it, that don't like the culture, that can't stand it anymore, and they've worked there long enough, decide they're going to bail. And that's an issue for this industry. And it sounds like, you're a haven for those who want to get started, who got the education, who are smart, have the skills. They're really going to have an opportunity to have a balanced, career. I love what you're doing, Chad. What piece of advice would you give other advisors out there besides not starving to death?
If you're a young advisor, get involved with a very good, strong financial planning firm that's going to invest in you, and make sure that you're on a track that you're not going to starve to death, that it's just not, you go out and eat what you can kill. Make sure that you're in a process and there's a good training program. I think that is key. It's got to have a good training program, and you could really have the work-life balance. I mean, you really can, because your life outside of work is going to be intertwined with your business, and it should make your business better and better. It really should. It shouldn't be one or the other, because they should both feed off of one another.
Yeah, 100%. I appreciate your time today. Thank you for contributing to the industry, for allowing a great opportunity for those advisors to really grow. If they're interested, obviously we'll have in the show notes your website. They can reach out to oliviergroup.com. And, I'm sure, we discussed and talked on LinkedIn. They can probably find you there on LinkedIn. We'll have those in the show notes as well. But thank you for your contribution, for giving back to the show.
Great. Thank you, Travis.
Absolutely. Listeners, if you like this, reach out to Chad. If you loved the episode and you want to share this message, like, share, comment, subscribe, rate the podcast. And we're excited to keep having amazing guests like this on the show that will help contribute back to scaling and keeping your balance. So remember, achieving balance is living your life on purpose. Thanks, everyone.